I got the moves. I got the moves. I'm making moves. You gotta move. You gotta make the city move. Like, whoa. I make the city move. I got the move.
The NBA trade deadline is fast approaching, so it's only a matter of time before a major blockbuster trade goes down. I've already made multiple videos about potential trades that could happen, but today I just want to focus on the players individually. And the players I'm going to be looking at today haven't necessarily requested a trade, but personally, I think they should. Actually, I'll be transparent here. Two of the players on this list I think need to request a trade ASAP, and the other two don't really need to, they definitely need more help though. If they don't get that help, then I think it's likely they'll request a trade. If you're new here and enjoy the video, be sure to subscribe for more NBA content like this. Every subscription and like really does help a lot on this channel, so if you could do that, I would greatly appreciate it. But with that all being said, let's get right into this top 4.
Lucas.
Number 4, Damian Lillard. Now, Damian Lillard is one of the players on this list that I don't think needs to request a trade right now, but if he doesn't get help soon, I think there is a chance he will, because he's absolutely carrying the Blazers hard right now. In the 4 games up until today's game versus LA, Damian Lillard has averaged 52.7 points per game, which is absolutely crazy. They've won 3 out of those 4 games, but he's had to do it the hard way, as he's really been the only consistent player throughout them. For the season, Lillard is averaging 29 and 8 on great efficiency, but the Blazers haven't had a consistent bunch of guys to help him. McCollum has had an iffy year, and he started the season very poorly, and whilst Carmelo has been nice, he's not enough. More proof to this is the Blazers' record. They currently sit outside the playoff picture in 10th with a record of 21 and 27. They've struggled all year to stay consistent and go on win streaks, and this is having a big cost. If the Blazers don't make any moves to get Lillard help this deadline, the Blazers may fail to make the playoffs, which is crazy to think about considering how far they got last year. I get that guys like Nurkic are out, and that's hurting them a lot right now, but the current roster build is not nearly enough for the Blazers to have a worthwhile playoff run, let alone make it apparently at this point. Lillard needs help ASAP, it's as simple as that. He's on an absolute tear right now offensively, but unfortunately, it's looking like it won't matter. Again, I don't think Lillard will request a trade anytime soon. He just needs the Blazers to build around him better, but the chance of him potentially requesting a trade is getting higher and higher the more the Blazers lose. Number 3, Bradley Beal. I know Bradley Beal isn't very likely to request a trade as he just signed an extension with Washington, but the Wizards need to get him some help as soon as possible, because otherwise he is just completely wasting his prime. The Wizards have been consistently losing as of late. They have a record of 16 and 31, and it's just disappointing to see because Beal is absolutely dominating. In his last 5 games, Beal is averaging 39 points per game and 7 assists on 50-40-90 shooting splits, and is averaging 28 points per game on the season, which is the 6th highest in the league. It's clear Beal is dominating and is playing at the peak of his prime, but no one's really going to care if he stays on a losing Washington squad. To be honest, I don't really think the Wizards should make any big moves this deadline. I'd wait and see what happens when John Wall comes back. But if they're still not winning by this time next season, then it's probably time to blow things up. I get Beal signed an extension there, he clearly loves it in Washington, but it just pains me to see him drop 40, 50 points over and over trying to get the win, and the Washington Wizards still get blown out. Admittedly, the Wizards are heading in the right direction in terms of getting help by getting guys like Davis Bertans, but there's still a long way to go. I mean, Bradley Beal is 100% an all-star this year, yet he didn't make it because of the Wizards' record and how irrelevant they are becoming. I know it really makes no sense with Trae Young being a goddamn starter, but that's another video. What I'm basically trying to say here for Beal is that it's frustrating seeing him on this Wizards team. He's playing so well for nothing, and again, it's really frustrating to see. Number 2, Devin Booker. Now, I'm going to talk about some guys I think need to request a trade this season because it annoys me a lot seeing how well they're playing and they're getting no reward for it. The first player is Devin Booker, and to me, he's probably the biggest all-star snub this year after Bradley Beal. Booker has been playing phenomenally this year, averaging 27 points per game on 51% from the field, which is insane, and a great 37% from 3. Unfortunately though, he wasn't selected as an all-star, which is completely ridiculous to me because he's playing above an all-star level. He's like all NBA. Booker is on a different level this year. And the reason why he wasn't selected over a guy like Chris Paul is because of team success. And I get it. What about Trae Young? What about Lillard? I get all of that, and it doesn't make sense to me either. But I think the blatantly obvious reason why Booker didn't again make the All-Star game is because of it, and it's also the reason why Chris Paul made it. But I'm not here to talk about Booker being snubbed. It's already been talked about a lot. I'm here to say why Booker is likely to request a trade soon, and why I think he should. Booker said at the start of last season that he was done missing the playoffs and that he was going to work his butt off to make sure they did. And whilst he has completed the latter and is continuing to do so, the first part hasn't been close to being completed. The Suns yet again finished towards the bottom of the standings last season, and they're on track to do so again this year, even after a promising start. The Suns are currently the 11th seed and are 21-27. That's not good at all, and the chance of them scraping into the 8th seed is becoming slimmer and slimmer by the day. Again, this isn't really Booker's fault anymore, and I personally don't think that he's putting up empty stats. It's mainly Phoenix's fault for failing to build a decent roster around him. I mean, the roster isn't terrible, but it's clearly not enough. So, this is why Booker needs to request a trade. Booker is currently playing at an extremely high level, yet the Suns have failed to build around him well and garner team success. He said he was done missing the playoffs, but Phoenix is on track to do that again. I think Booker needs to realize Phoenix is not the place for him to have success, and that the only way he will be able to win is to request a trade to a competent franchise. We all thought that Phoenix were on the right track at the start of this season. We were wrong. Phoenix is not the place for Booker, and if he doesn't want to be in a situation like Anthony Davis, Paul George and Kevin Garnett were in their early careers, he needs to do the same as them and request a trade. That's just how I see it, but now let's move on to number 1. Number 1, KarlAnthony Towns. Before the season started, I made a video on KarlAnthony Towns and why he should request a trade. The reasons why I said he should would be if the Wolves yet again failed to have success this season. And what a surprise, the Wolves are doing just that. After a promising start to the season, led by Towns himself, everything suddenly changed when Towns was out for the month of December with an injury. Ever since that injury, the Wolves have gone 5-24. Yes, 5-24. That is atrocious, and it proves how little help Towns has. Towns is having a phenomenal year, averaging 27-10 on insane efficiency. He's having one of the best big man offensive seasons of all time, but it's all going down the drain at this point. So, why should KarlAnthony Towns request a trade? Well, it's pretty simple. He is carrying his team, and they are giving nothing back, and Minnesota is failing to build an adequate team around him. There's clear proof of this when he was out with his injury. Minnesota have now dropped to the 14th seed in the West and could potentially take the 15th seed as well. Before his injury, they were 7th and had a record above 500. We don't want him to end up like Anthony Davis, a player who wastes his early prime on a terrible organization. Before the season started, I wasn't 100% sure if he should request a trade or not, but the evidence is there now. Towns needs to get out of Minnesota as soon as possible. And that will conclude the top 4. Who do you think is most likely to request a trade out of those 4? Who needs the most help? Let me know your thoughts on this down in the comments below. Let me just re-clarify what I said at the start. 2 of the players on this list do not need to request a trade now, they just need more help. That's Beal and Lillard. The other 2 do need to request a trade now. That's Booker and Towns. Hopefully you guys can understand that. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to drop it a like and subscribe. But with that being said, I am out. Peace.